So you want to become a photographer? Well, there are three main aspects to professional photography: ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. Of course, there's focal length, focal points, and flash, but that will be covered in our basic photography video. Let's start with shutter speed. In simple terms, this represents the fraction of 1 second, and that very tiny amount of time is how long your shutter opens each burst. The longer the shutter opens, the more light enters the lens, resulting in a brighter photo, and vice versa with faster shutter speeds. So other than changing brightness, what other good does shutter speed provide? Faster shutter speeds can capture a fast-moving object or remove handshaking during a photograph. Slower speeds can create things like motion blur in cars, water, and just about everything that moves. But keep in mind that one minuscule shake of the hand can result in the entire image becoming blurred, so be sure to use a tripod. Next, let's talk about aperture. Aperture is the measure of how wide your lens are. Aperture uses f-stops, and the higher the f-stop, the smaller your lens are. The smaller the f-stop, the wider your lens are. Now, the wider your lens are, the more bright your photos will be because more light enters your lens. So other than using aperture to change brightness, what other good does it do? Well, aperture can change your depth of field. Depth of field is the distance range that gets focused into your photograph. For example, photos with a smaller f-stop, which means wider lens, results in a background of your photo being more blurred than a photo with a bigger f-stop. Just remember that the smaller the f-stop, the more things can be focused in your photograph. Last but not least, we have ISO. ISO is just how sensitive your camera sensor is to light. The more sensitive it is, the more light it will capture, resulting in bright photographs. ISO is measured in numbers that usually range from 100 to 800. ISO 100 are ideal for environments that already have good lighting, while higher ISOs, like ISO 800, are good for night photography as they can light up photos without needing a flash. But there is a trade-off for higher sensitivity, and that is photo grain. At first glance, you may not notice anything, but you will see the grain once you zoom in. Remember that ISO, aperture, and shutter speed can compensate for each other. If you want to capture a fast-moving object, but things are too dark, you can add brightness by lowering your aperture or raising your ISO. Now go try these new skills you just learned on your own camera. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you have any questions.